Hey, good morning. I thought I'd take advantage of this rather beautiful morning on this day, Oshlahu Ach, to make this, well, I guess I have to say recording now. I was going to say video, because of course mostly what I've been doing over the last 7 years is making videos. But now, as you may have seen, I'm also making these available as podcasts. It was something that just, let's say, dawned on me last week. A new dream during the Trecena of Imox, which we're just finishing today. And I hope that it opens up accessibility for people who would rather listen in the car than watch at home or whatever it might be. I hope that you'll be finding those interesting and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to make a few little adjustments. Like, I will try to remember to speak the Gregorian date of the Nawal that I'm referring to, so that you can align it with your calendar, as it were, because I know that that's something that, kind of like, in order to integrate it, we do need to do. But of course, kind of like say, when I'm kind of doing a lot of this talking, just as what comes to me at the time, trying to get into that kind of like mechanism is not always easy. So it might take a few times before I actually manage to get it right. So please forgive me for that. Okay, so today I will be talking about the Trecena of Ix. And for me, this could be seen as a time of reconnection to Mother Earth. Ix, the heart of the earth. Ix, the mother. Ix, the connection to the shrines and to the altars. The one who responds to our prayers, the one who responds to our offerings, the one who is only too happy to fulfill the needs of her children. But there's something in that as well for me, where I see it as the reconnection to our magic. Because when we look at it from a particular way, when we start engaging with a more profound connection with the earth, with the altars, with the magical places, that's what reminds us of what we could call the magic that we all carry within us. Now, over time, and in society, when we get distracted by all of the awful things that go on in the world, sometimes we also forget what we carry within ourselves. Sometimes we get so bogged down in, well, whatever it might be that's going on, that we forget that we also have this ability, this magical ability to connect with the Mother Earth. We get so distracted by the media or social media or whatever else might be going on. And, in many reasons, rightly so, But also, we forget about the magical life that's there as well. We forget about our magical connection and our ability to manifest what is required in our world, in our sphere of influence, for our family and for our community. And for me, this Trecena of Ix gives us the opportunity to reconnect, to remember our prayers, to remember our offerings, to remember what we're doing here on Mother Earth, with Mother Earth, our magical connection. So 13 days of reconnection, 13 days of ceremony, 13 days of connection with the sacred sites, to remember what we're really connected to. So we will begin the Trecena of Ix on the day Hunish, which is the 21st of May 2025. And so what do we see with this day? Well, as I say, the one always about renovation, renewal, regrowth, the rebirth. And with Ix, yes, the connection to the Mother Earth. Yes, the connection to the altar. So it's all coming in on that day. Now, obviously, it's a great day to make time to make ceremony, to initiate that connection. it's a great day to be doing something for the earth, to begin something. You know, maybe you've got a local environmental project, maybe it's a clean up of your local environment, whatever it might be. This is the day to begin. Now, when we're beginning something, when we put that seed into the ground, we got to give it some fertilizer. We got to give it some energy to get it going. Maybe we need a little bit of help along the way. And so this, for me, is the day to ask for that help. Because sometimes it's not just going to happen on its own. Sometimes we need, to ask around. It's like, okay, yeah, you seem to be doing well with that. How did you do it? What did you find to reconnect? How did you reconnect? And so, for me, it's certainly a day to ask questions. It's certainly a day to find your inspiration in order to reconnect with the heart of the earth, in order to reconnect with the magic that she holds, and to remember and identify that magic within yourself too, within your own heart. From Hun-ish, we move to the day to Tz'ikin on the 22nd of May 2025. So, to Tz'ikin. Tz'ikin, the Nawal of the bird. Tz'ikin, the Nawal of the vision. The bird flies up high and shows us what's ahead. When we want to get a better perspective of stuff, sometimes we need to kind of go up high and see, what's going on ahead. And so here we see it with the number 2. And the number 2 representing duality. The number 2 representing that binary nature of things. And I would like to say that if we're combining it with the Nawala vision, this is seeing things in this kind of contrast. Seeing things very well defined. Maybe something's a yes, maybe something's a no. And in this time of reconnecting with the Mother Earth, this can be a great day to be defining your vision. Sometimes we get grey areas, right? We're not sure. It's kind of maybe there's something in between. Well, the number 2 kind of for me is very much looking at it. Is it a yes or a no? Is it a 1 or a 0? Am I going to include this in my connection with Mother Earth, or is it time to exclude it? It's time to kind of draw the line and look for some very positive yes-no answers. We can also see the 2 representing relationships, and perhaps to Tz'ikin representing the vision for a relationship or the vision for your relationship. What vision do you need to ask for to help to move it forward? What vision do you want to bring in to help to bring prosperity to it? Because Tz'ikin is about that prosperity too. The prosperity for our family, the prosperity for our environment. And here we see it's a 1 or a 0. Does this fit or doesn't it fit? There's no kind of middle ground in there. And so the clarity that can come with the vision, the clarity that can come on that Tu Tz'ikin day to help you to really understand what to include in your vision for your connection with Mother Earth and what needs to now be excluded. Sometimes there is stuff that we didn't realize that we were doing, or there was stuff that we didn't realize was acting in a particular way. And now, in this reconnecting time, maybe it's time to include or exclude something that is not aligned with our vision. The day to Tz'ikin may well bring that into a very sharp focus. After the day to Tz'ikin comes the day 3 Ajmak on the 23rd of May 2025. So Ajmak, the day of redemption, the Nawal of forgiveness, the Nawal of acceptance of who we are as human beings. The Nawal that helps us to understand that being a human is messy. Being a human, we can't see through space and time. Sometimes we're going to get things right, sometimes maybe not. But what we have to do is to accept. What we have to do is forgive. And sometimes, we will, let's say, get things, well, as I said, get things right. Sometimes other people will get things right and sometimes they won't. But in this day, in this Trecena of recognizing our connection with the Mother Earth, it's time to forgive as well. Again, when we look at it from the point of view of what we may have done over the last 260 days, or maybe even all of our life, and then we realize, oh my goodness, you know what I was doing there? That really wasn't good for the earth. I wasn't behaving in an appropriate manner. I wasn't, connecting with the earth in an appropriate way. Maybe I forgot to make our ceremonies. Maybe we didn't make enough ceremony. Maybe we weren't, kind of like dealing with our trash in the right way. However it might have been. 3 Ajmak gives us the opportunity and the time to forgive ourselves about this, because that 3 is focused inwards. And as we go into that connection, as we remember our magic in this Trecena of Ix, we can't do it with a heavy heart. This is a joyful connection to the Mother Earth. And sure, we may be, let's say, it's time to turn a leaf, and kind of like if we look at things and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I was doing that, or I used to do that, or whatever it might be. It's like, fine, now you've recognized it, it's time to resolve any blame or shame or guilt over the past, because for me, once again, this is something which I feel stifles our magic. It stifles our joy. It stifles our creativity. If we're carrying around that heavy stone about what we did, whenever we did it, and that kind of thing, let's say when we were more ignorant, when we didn't realize, because most of us wouldn't do something intentionally bad, it just kind of happened in the past. But in order to truly move into your magic, you got to do it with a light heart. You got to embrace what it is to be a human. To embrace that, we don't always get it right. But we got to move on. And as we move on joyfully, we move on creatively. We move on sweetly, which is what Ajmak is supposed to remind us to be. It's to look inside for our sweetness on this day 3 Ajmak. Remember what sweetness we hold inside our heart, and allow that sweetness to connect with Mother Earth, forgiving ourselves and others for previous misdemeanors, as it were, so that we can move forward as this beautiful, sweet human that we are. From 3 Ajmak, we move forwards to 4 Noch on the 24th of May 2025. So, 4 Noch, the Nawal of the mind, Noch, the Nawal of intellect and intelligence and thought and problem solving. And here we see it with the number 4 representing the cardinal points, representing the material plane. So as we've gone through our lives, hopefully we've picked up many ideas. We've picked up a great deal of knowledge in our lives. The Nawal Noch gives us the mind to solve problems, helps us to solve problems in our community, helps us to solve problems in our world. And here we see it with the number 4. This material plane of existence is about getting your thoughts and ideas out into the world. And, sure, we've been thinking about stuff, we got the information, we do a bit more research, or maybe we do a bit more Googling, however you kind of want to do it and that kind of thing, to come to an understanding of what we need in our mind. But sooner or later, we have to make it practical. We have to take that information, we have to take that knowledge, we have to take what we've learnt and translate it into the physical realm. Because maybe we've been on these courses and workshops that help us to understand how to better interact with Mother Earth. Maybe we've been on, kind of like all of this learning that we've done. And it's like books sitting on our bookshelves, not doing anything. And it's up to us to put it into practice. How can I take my idea for looking after Mother Earth? How can I take my knowledge of how to connect with the heart of the earth? How can I take the knowledge that I've received, the training that I may have received within ceremony or connection with sacred sites or whatever it might be, and turn it practical? Get it out there. Yes, you might be kind of like into drawing up action plans or whatever it might be, and kind of like people do, but it's a day to take action. To take that knowledge that you have and transform it into the physical realm, to come up with practical solutions of how you can help Mother Earth, how you can engage with her in a more profound way. You have the knowledge, you have the ideas. On Fornoch, let's transfer them out into the physical world. From Fornoch, we move into 5 Tijax on the day 25th of May 2025. Tijax, the Nawal of healing. Tijax, the Nawal of purification. Here we see it with the number 5 representing the hand, the number 5 which comes in to clean, to purify, to cut away what is no longer needed. And the number 5, coming with the work. And it's like healing work is the easy, simple phrase that I would associate with the day 5 Tijax. Purification work as well. Now, being as we are in this Trecena of Ix, being as we are reconnecting with our magic, we're reconnecting with the shrines and the altars and the heart of Mother Earth. 5 Tijax, if Tijax is all about cleansing and purification and 5 is about putting our work into it, what better day might we have to clear up our local environment, to spend some time actually putting our effort into it, as we would say in England, kind of putting our money where our mouth is, as it were, to go out and make this physical cleansing of Mother Earth. Maybe there's trash in your environment that you want to clear up. Maybe it's just kind of like, going out and making sure that we are behaving in the right way. Now, of course, we can also see healing work associated with this. And oftentimes they'll talk about Tijax representing, in particular, energetic healing. The glyph for Tijax rather looking like 2 rays of lightning coming through, and that lightning representing the body energy. And so, of course, 5 Tijax would be a great day to put your effort, to put your work into any form of healing that might be required right now. So again, kind of like a great day for that healing work, perhaps in your community, perhaps in the environment. If we looked at it from the point of view of a day of purification, and if we looked at it from the point of view of putting your energy into it, we could also see a day of purifying your own heart. If we're connecting with Mother Earth, perhaps we need to do some of that purification and cleansing work on ourselves in order to really define that magic within us, that magical connection with the Mother Earth. From 5 Tijax, we move to the day 6 Kawok on the 26th of May 2025. 6 Kawok, Kawok the rain, Kawok the storm, Kawok the midwife, the one who brings the new life into the world, the feminine essence of healing. Well, today, for those of you that can see what's going on, I'm actually recording this in the morning. Why? Well, because it's rainy season now. If I wait until sunset, chances are either I'm going to get wet or I'm going to have to do it inside. So I thought I still want to do it outside by the lake, so let's do it in the morning instead. Because Lady Kawok, Tepiyu Kawok, sovereign rain, is showing up in the afternoons now. We're fully into rainy season. Everything has turned verdant green again. In my garden, you may remember, if you've been following me for a little while or watching my videos, I made this little video about the solar zenith. That was on 5 Ech, which is, well, from now, it's kind of like somewhere around about 22 days ago. My corn is now about 30 centimeters. That's 1 foot tall. It's growing really well, just 3 weeks. And it's growing so well. Why? Because the rains have come back. Now, there has been some relatively heavy rain, but most of the time it's this light, nourishing, beautiful rain which is turning everywhere green. You can see things growing. It's almost like life happens so fast here. You can almost see it growing by the day. You can see life emerging, and that's what Kawok brings for us. That's what she brings into our world. Now, of course, there are some times when the rain is coming down hard and we're concerned about our roof, or did we fix that leak and all of that kind of thing. And yeah, sure, that happens. And sometimes Kawok will bring that kind of like that certain, let's say, fear of the storm to us. But here, on that day 6 Kawok, we can see something which is really nourishing. We can see that the rain is balanced. We can see that the rain brings something which nurtures our family. Kawok, the new emergence, the one who helps us to work through our things. And I also sometimes refer to Kawok as tough love, because she will lay it on the line for us. She will blow it out straight to us. Kind of like, you want to move forward? Well, you're going to have to get over that. You don't want to get over that? Well, you're not going to move forward. What are you going to choose? It's kind of like she can be rather direct in her way of bringing the new life into the world. Like I say, sometimes the rain is heavy. Sometimes the storm feels almost destructive in its way. But here, with the number 6, there is a certain balance to it. Now, the number 6 can represent the family. And so perhaps this is about a rebirthing within family values, or the rebirth of family values. We certainly see Kawok as representing, this very feminine essence of healing. But we see with the number 6 drawing on the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth and manifesting it into the physical plane in balance. And so if we look at 5 Tijax and 6 Kawok together, that 25th of May going into the 26th of May, if we want to put it like that, what a wonderful time for a healing process. We put in our healing energy on 5 Tijax and we resolve it on 6 Kawok. It's a wonderful pairing, I think, anyway. And so 6 Kawok, really about drawing on the sky and the earth to bring that healing essence into the physical realm, to bring that rebirthing. I was talking about this reconnection with the heart of the earth, and here we're now incorporating the heart of the sky into it and manifesting it into the physical realm. What is it that you want to manifest through your connection with these divine potentials? Today, maybe we understand how to go through that birthing process, and we highlight what blockages we might have, that we might ask how Kawok to help us to wash away so that we can be born into that connection and manifest it into our physical world. From 6 Kawok, we then move into 7 Ajpu on the 27th of May 2025. And 7 Ajpu figures in the Popol Vuh. You know that I get very interested in the way that, for example, the Trecenas play out. Here we are talking about the Trecena of Ix. The Trecena of Ix, which could also be called Ishbalam, is followed by the Trecena of Kech, Ishbalam Kech, followed by the Trecena of Hunahpu. So we have Ishbalam Kech and Hunahpu in this 39-day period, this 3 Trecena period that spells out the name of the hero twins from the Popol Vuh. I find that very interesting. And it comes out because I'm mentioning this day 7 Ajpu, Wukub Hunahpu. And Wukub Hunahpu being the uncle of the hero twins in the Popol Vuh. Wukub Hunahpu, who we could kind of decide or decipher as being the old sun, the end of a particular era. 7 Ajpu and 1 Ajpu go into the underworld, the father and the uncle of the hero twins. They go into the underworld, and 7 Ajpu is sacrificed and never heard from again. Hun Hunahpu rather, is also sort of like sacrificed, but then he is resurrected as the new sun. And so there is a certain something with 7 Ajpu that I see as the end of an era. The end of an old process, because we have the 7, which can represent death and endings, and Ajpu, which is, well, it can represent a spiritual path, it can represent an old understanding, it can represent an old civilization. And so that 7 Ajpu can be kind of like winding up something on an old spiritual path. Now, in this time, the Trecena of Ix, as we are reconnecting with our magic, as we are reconnecting with our spiritual path, as it were, we're reconnecting with the heart of the earth, perhaps there is something that needs to come to an end. Perhaps there is something that, it's done. It was useful at the time. It was a great path to finish, but sooner or later we have to come to a destination. We have to come to a point where we're kind of leveling up. Now, the 7 not only represents endings, it can also represent choices. And so as we reconnect with Mother Earth, as we're reconnecting with the magic, perhaps this 7 Ajpu can be a day when we're kind of like defining, hey, look, we've come to the end of a particular part of our spiritual path, and now it's time to choose which one that we're going to go on further, because in 20 days' time, Hunahpu will come around, the new spiritual path that we're going to take. And so what might we be winding up? In our connection with the earth, what are we kind of like saying, right, this is the end of a particular practice, this is the end of a particular path, and now we're kind of like looking out for the information that's going to show us our new spiritual path. Perhaps this is something that might become apparent on this day 7 Ajpu. What do we choose now? If one's coming to an end, what do we choose next to help us to connect with the spirit of the earth? From 7 Ajpu, we move to 8 Imox on the 28th of May 2025. Imox, well, here I am. I'm standing in front of Lake Atitlan, this beautiful, huge body of water. Aq'ab'al Imox, the Nawal of the lake, the spirit of the lake. Aq'ab'al Imox that connects us all through our dreams. Imox also representing the dreams to come. Imox helping us to understand how we can empathize with each other, how we can empathize with the water and all the species that are supported by the water. And here we see with the number 8, the number which represents the day of ceremony, the number which represents wholeness. Now, in some ways, we could see 8 Imox representing the whole dream, the wholeness of the dream. It's seeing things in totality. It's seeing the interconnectedness of our psychic field, that we're connected with everybody around us in our community, that we're connected with everything around us in our world. The tulle that grows here, the moorhens that you might have heard squawking around earlier in this recording, the clouds and the volcanoes that are around us, it is our connection with everything, with the spirit of everything, our psychic connection. And so it's a celebration of that connection. It's also a celebration of the waters. You know, if there was a, kind of like a water day, as it were, it might well be Imox, a day on which to make ceremony, to give thanks for the life which comes from the great bodies of water. And in this time of the Trecena of Ix, of course, I'm talking about the reconnection with Mother Earth and the waters of Mother Earth that bring us to life. It's a great day if we were going to do something like this, to have a clean-up of the waters, a clean-up of the shore, to give real, true thanks for the water that supports life. And thank you for all those who work with the waters of life. So yes, you might make your ceremony in a sacred site, in a beautiful altar, but you could also have your ceremony being that clean-up of the water element. Now, I also see, of course, Imox representing the dreams and the dream world. And here it is the wholeness of the dream, understanding how that wholeness of dreaming can come together in this time of the Trecena of Ix, in this time of reconnection with the Mother Earth, understanding the elements which are needed in order to bring the seed of the dream, which we're now finishing off the Trecena of Imox, and then we come around to the 8 Imox 20 days later. Here we are, giving thanks for the wholeness of the dream that comes and asking, what do I need in order to complete this? What other elements might I need to ask for from the spirit of the lake in order to bring this dream to wholeness? From 8 Imox, we move into 9 Ix on the 29th of May 2025. 9 Ix, well, again, there's certain combinations that I just see. They have this phrase that I want to put with them, and I want to call 9 Ix the breath of life. We could also see it as the feminine voice, because we have the 9 representing the feminine, the 9 representing life itself, the 9 lunations that we spend in the womb. And here, connected with Ix, connected with the wind, connected with the breath, that which rises from our lungs and becomes our words. It's literally breathing life into it. And as we celebrate this in the Trecena of Ix, we see that this is breathing life into our magic, breathing life into our connection with Mother Earth, understanding the power of our words to bring things to life. Now, of course, we may have become very aware over the last few years, if not before, of how important that breath is to us, how it animates us, what it brings for us. There is no life without breath, just as there is no life without water, just as there is no life without the earth. It's almost all of those components coming together. And this is a day to celebrate the life breath. So perhaps some breathing exercises may be appropriate on that day, but it's also to express through our words. Now, there is something that I see, kind of like we have ceremony, but a major part of ceremony, if not one of the most important parts of the ceremony, is our words. This is sometimes the true food of the fire, is the emotions, the words that we express, how we communicate. This is what really brings things to life. Speak it into life. 9 Ix gives us exactly that possibility to do that. It is a day to use your words to bring life. It's a day to animate things through the word, to make your connection at the shrines, at the altar, and with Mother Earth through your words. So once again, it could be a great day for ceremony, to ask for the life breath. And it can be a wonderful day to use your words to bring whatever connection it might be into the world, to really bring it to life. It's like, kind of like I imagine there's, kind of like the reanimation happening through the breath of life. This is when we wake up. From 9 Ix, we then move to 10 Aq'ab'al on the 30th of May 2025. So Aq'ab'al, the dawn and the dusk. Well, here we got neither going on right now because, kind of like this is not at dawn, this is not at dusk. But for me, it is about the new concepts coming in. It is about the first rays of light, or kind of like the twilight that comes in, that shows us what's been hidden in the darkness. And what we can see Aq'ab'al in certain way as representing conception. It's the conception point of the day, and it can be the conception point of a new weaving on the backstrap loom. And here, with the number 10, representing community, hands coming together, making agreements, representing society. And so we can see 10 Aq'ab'al representing new concepts for society, bringing new concepts into society. Now, in this time, this Trecena of Ix, as we celebrate our reconnection with Mother Earth, as we celebrate our reconnection with sacred sites, as we celebrate our reconnection with our own magic, bringing new concepts into society. It wasn't so long ago, certainly within my living memory, the ideas like recycling were introduced. The ideas like, the various environmental issues that people were oblivious to in, let's say, the 70s or the 80s or whatever. Suddenly we kind of like realize, oh, actually, what we've been doing, that's not good for the environment. We didn't know. Going back to that Ajmak, we got to forgive ourselves for some of these things, because it's like we just did what we thought was right at the time, or whatever it might be, and then new information comes to light, and we go, actually no, we've got to change our ways. We've got to live in a more harmonious existence with Mother Earth. And certainly the more that we connect with Mother Earth, the more that we connect our hearts through our prayers, through our altars, through our magic, for want of better words, the more that we realize how lightly we have to live and how we might have to change our ways. So, kind of the reason why I mention it is because Aq'ab'al brings to light the things which have been hidden in the darkness. Sometimes they've been there all along. They were just kind of like lurking around in the background and that kind of thing. It's like now we're bringing them to light. Now we see it with the number 10, and the number 10 representing society or community. So it's new concepts to bring to society, new concepts to bring to the community, which help us to understand and identify how we can live in greater harmony, how we can live in greater connection with Mother Earth. So again, it's a great day to be doing something new like that, something that you maybe haven't done before or whatever, and take it out to society and say, hey, did you know we can do this? Did you know that this is something that can help us to respect and love Mother Earth in a deeper, more profound way? Sometimes we've got our concepts, we've got our ideas. We've been sitting on them for a while because we're not ready, we're not sure how they're going to be received or that kind of thing. Well, 10 Aq'ab'al is the day to get those concepts out to your community, out to the society. From 10 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 11 Cat on the 31st of May 2025. 11 Cat, well, Cat, the carrying net. Cat, the net which holds all of our abundance. But also, it can be what restrains us. And here we see it with the high and sometimes uncertain number 11. Now, the number 11, I like to use this idea about it being, kind of like an unusual path, a path that we might have taken, kind of like intuitively, let's say. Things come to us and we think, oh, that's a good idea, I'll go that way. And then we go that way, and then we go that way, and then we go that way. And anybody watching our path might say, these are some strange turns to make. There's not really any logic involved. Well, no, logic is not involved because it's coming intuitively. And it might not always make sense, but when we engage with the intuition in that way, the result is creativity. And so this is why, kind of like the 11s might not always make sense from a logical perspective, but can be some of the most talented and creative of all, because they're following their intuition. Now here we see it with the day Cat, and Cat can be a day of multiplication. It's kind of like it's where what we plant in the ground gets multiplied, what we plant in the womb becomes a new life. Cat is, kind of like about seeing that multiplication that happens in that magical net. It can also be about that which binds us. And so I often see that Cat days are days when we can take a moment to look at what we carry with us and say, is this necessary or not? As I move forwards in my journey, what I'm attached to, what I carry with me, is it going to be useful? Does it help me to connect with Mother Earth, or does it stifle my connection? Is it something which is good for the earth? Is it good for the environment? Is it something I need to let go of? And when we connect it with that 11, yes, we might have to, kind of like follow our instincts on that day. And sometimes we might be cutting off things, kind of like releasing things. It's like, are we sure? I don't know. I'm intuitively connected to say, I've got to release that now. I'm not sure whether I want to release it. Maybe I'm like, wow, kind of like, really? So it might bring up some unusual turn of events that, kind of like we cut something where we didn't realize that might have been holding us back, or might have been obstructing our connection with Mother Earth and our magic. But intuitively we understand how to cut it. So, yes, there might be some surprising cuts that come on that day 11 Cat. Hopefully what we're doing is making space to allow an abundant connection to Mother Earth to flow to us in the future. From 11 Cat, we move into 12 Can on the 1st of June of 2025. 12 Can, so Can, the Nawal of wisdom and power. Can also represent our teachers. Can helps us to see through the illusion to the truth, using our wisdom to see through those who may have tried to have power over us. It's also a great day for passing our wisdom on, for empowering those around us. So whether we're taking the role of teacher or student on the day Can, it is a great day to either give or receive that wisdom in order to empower others. Now, we see it there with the number 12. The number 12 representing the bundling together of all of our life experience. And perhaps even this number 12 bringing this kind of completion, as it were. We could see it as, how can we bundle our life experience together in order to pass it on to others, to turn it into a coherent form that can be used to enlighten, engage, and empower those around us. For me, I always feel that whatever we learn, at some point we're going to have to pass it on. Because if we choose not to pass on our wisdom, firstly, we're not empowering the next generation, and secondly, our wisdom dies with us. So it's really important that we take that moment to pass on what we've collected through our lives. And 12 Can brings out exactly that. Now, we could also say that probably in our world, between, crikey, well, I don't really even need to mention, kind of like social media, the media, artificial intelligence, and kind of like all of these AI generated images and videos and all of those kind of things that go on in our world. 12 Can be a wonderful day to use your experience to discern what is real and what is illusion. 12 Can be a great day to pass that on to others and say, well, hang on, kind of like, okay, yeah, it looks great, but don't you realize that's all CGI or, whatever it might be. And in turn, this empowers ourselves and others when we realize what's reality and what's merely an illusion. And then finally, we end up on 13 Kame on the 2nd of June 2025. 13 Kame, an incredibly powerful day. An incredibly powerful day of connection with the ancestors, of connection with spirit. As this is the end of this Trecena, the end of this kind of like reconnection with our magic, reconnection with sacred sites, and with, ceremony and all that kind of thing. And here we see it finishing up on 13 Kame, the connection with the spirit of the ancestors. Because both the number 13 and the Nawal Kame can represent the ancestors. Now, I would say that 13 Kame brings us this, kind of like, if it was a day of mediumship, which it could be, but it's a day when we actually don't need the medium. I mean, the messages are flowing loud and clear from the ancestors. It is a powerful day. Kame also represents facing our fears, and sometimes we might be fearing our connection to spirit. We might be fearing our connection to the ancestors. We're kind of like, because we don't know how to handle it. Sometimes the messages are coming through too clearly. Sometimes the messages are coming through too strong. But unfortunately, we can't put our fingers in our ears because they're coming through our hearts, they're coming through our minds, they're coming through all of these signs and signals around us. It helps us to truly, profoundly connect with the ancestors and with their spirit. 13 Kame is a wonderful day to ask the spirit of the ancestors to help you to overcome any fears that you may have in your connection. Any fears that you might have about your reconnection with the Mother Earth, any fears that you might have about ceremony. 13 Kame brings you that guidance. It also brings you the understanding of how to truly connect with that ancestral energy, with those ancestral altars and shrines, with that ancestral magic. So if you're looking for a message from Spirit, 13 Kame may well be the day on which it comes through. So I hope that this has been useful for you. I think I've actually done something which is way longer than what I would normally do. And I'll see you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Ix. Thank you.